The sky above Earth looked calm, stars blinking faintly against the black sea of space, but hidden far beyond the atmosphere. Eyes were watching. Alien ships drifted in silence. Cloaked from human view, their sensors locked on Earth. Their whispers full of arrogance. "The Deathworlders are still young. They do not know what we know," one commander said. But then another voice cut through the quiet. "Wait, something is wrong." His words trembled as the largest human warship on their screens flickered once, twice, and then vanished into nothing. No explosion, no wreckage, no fire, only silence. And before they could react, the rest of the fleet followed. Hundreds of ships, all gone in a heartbeat, leaving empty space where steel and firepower had once been. What? What did they do? A young alien officer stammered, his claws shaking as his monitor went blank. His commander shouted, "Run another scan! Check the readings." But every system returned the same answer. Nothing remained. The human fleet had disappeared without leaving even dust behind. The bridge filled with panic. "This is impossible." "Fleets do not vanish," another said. But deep inside they all felt the same dread. Maybe it was not destruction. Maybe it was something worse. Something they could not understand across the galaxy. Messages spread like fire. Councils of alien races gathered. Screens flickered with the faces of rulers and generals, their voices sharp with fear. "If the humans have a weapon that can erase fleets without a trace—" "We are finished," said one. Another whispered, "No, it was not destruction, it was movement. They shifted into a place beyond our reach." Silence followed those words, heavy and suffocating, because if that was true, then humanity was no longer playing the same game. They had stepped into something larger, something the galaxy was not ready for on Earth. The ordinary people went about their day, unaware of what had just happened above their skies. Children laughed in the streets, planes crossed the clouds, and life continued as normal, but beneath the oceans, far below where sunlight could reach, doors the size of mountains slid open. Machines hummed with deep thunder, and tunnels glowed with blue light. A hidden network that few, even among humans, knew about. Voices echoed in the dark halls. "The fleet has entered the passage. The operation has begun." The words were calm, but the air itself seemed to tremble. Meanwhile, in the alien council chamber, a small figure stood, his robe simple, his eyes dark. He was older than most, his voice quiet but heavy with weight. "I warned you long ago. Humans were not to be measured as others. Their world kills them every day. Their storms, their beasts, their wars, all shaped them into something beyond our predictions. And now you see it with your own eyes. They vanish, their ships not to hide, but to prepare." The chamber erupted in arguments. Some shouted to strike Earth at once before the humans returned. Others demanded silence, too afraid to move. But no one noticed the trembling in the elder's hands, for even he did not know what awaited them now, on a lone surveillance ship orbiting Earth. A young alien named Drevi watched his screens in horror. His superior demanded, "Send a report now." But Drevi hesitated. His claws hovered over the console, because something strange was happening. On the black screen, where the human fleet had once been, faint ripples of light began to appear, not random but patterned, almost like writing. The lights pulsed, forming coordinates, a place deep beyond the galactic rim. No race dared travel there. "Legend said that Void was cursed," Drevi whispered. "They are calling us," his commander hissed. "Do not read it, do not look." But Drevi's eyes were locked, because he realized the message was not to aliens. It was to other humans still on Earth. A call to join something greater. Suddenly alarms screamed through the ship. Energy surged. The cloaking field cracked. The crew stumbled as gravity twisted, and then from the empty space in front of them, a voice thundered. Not through speakers, but inside their minds. "You were not meant to see this." It was a human voice. Calm but vast, every alien fell to their knees, clutching their heads. Blood dripping from their noses. Drevi gasped as the ship's systems shut down one by one. The stars outside flickered and bent, and then everything went dark. When the lights returned, the human voice was gone. The coordinates had vanished, and the surveillance ship found itself alone, drifting far from Earth, engines cold, with no trace of how it had moved in the council chamber. Reports arrived late, fragmented and broken. Only a single phrase repeated through the static of Drevi's last transmission. "They're coming!" Those words echoed in the chamber like a curse. Generals clenched their fists, rulers shouted at one another. But none could escape the truth. Humans had hidden something deeper than anyone imagined. They did not lose their fleet. They did not destroy it. They had taken it somewhere else, somewhere beyond the galaxy's reach. And they had done it with silence and precision that night across alien worlds. Leaders sat in silence, their armies restless, their scientists confused, and their people whispering in fear. For the day the human fleet disappeared was not an ending, it was a beginning, and deep in the shadows of space, unseen by all, a single human warship hovered, its hull glowing faintly, its crew silent, their eyes fixed on a horizon no other race dared to look at. One voice broke the silence inside the ship. "Phase 1 complete, now we wait," and with that, the ship turned and slipped back into the dark, leaving only emptiness behind. A warning painted across the stars. The aliens could not believe their eyes. Because fleets do not vanish, yet the humans had done it, and no one knew when or how they would return. The council chamber of the Alien Alliance was filled with noise, screens flashing with reports, voices clashing, some angry, some afraid, none calm. "This is madness!" shouted one warlord, his scaled hands slamming against the table. "Fleets do not vanish. Humans cannot do this." But another voice cut in sharply. "And yet they did. You saw the same reports. You saw the same screens. Hundreds of ships gone, no fire, no wreckage. Nothing." The words hung heavy in the air, leaving silence that burned deeper than the shouting. The fear was real, and no one could deny it. A fleet of humans had disappeared before their eyes, and none of them understood how a younger leader stood. His eyes narrow, his voice shaking but steady. Perhaps they destroyed themselves, perhaps an accident. Humans are reckless. "They build power but lack control," he said. But an elder counselor leaned forward, his gaze sharp. "No, young one, this was not an accident. The disappearance was too clean, too perfect. And the faint energy ripple we recorded was not chaos. It was order, it was deliberate," the chamber murmured. Claws tapped, wings shifted uneasily. And someone whispered, "If it was deliberate, then where did they go?" Far from the council, on a mining colony at the edge of alien space, a small crew of workers sat together in the dark of their rest chamber. A projection floated in the air, replaying the images of the human fleet before it vanished. The youngest miner laughed nervously. "It's fake, yes, it has to be fake. Humans do not even travel beyond their own system with such force." But the older worker beside him shook his head. "No, boy. I fought in the border wars. I've seen their ships up close. They were real. And if they are gone, then something worse is coming." His words left the group in silence, even as the projection flickered and died back in the council chamber. Debates turned to panic. "We must strike Earth now, before they return," one general demanded. But another shouted back, "Are you mad? If we attack without knowing where their fleet went, we invite our own destruction," a third voice added. "Perhaps they have allies, some hidden race we do not know. Maybe the humans are not alone." That thought froze the chamber, because if true, it meant the galaxy faced not just one unknown. But many an aide hurried into the chamber, his scales pale with fear. "A transmission intercepted from the human network," he said, holding out a small device. The council demanded it be played. Static filled the air. Then a voice, human, calm but distorted. "Phase 1 complete, await further orders." The words were brief, but the silence that followed was long. One warlord growled, "Orders! From whom? Who commands them?" No answer came, and that unanswered question felt heavier than any truth on a surveillance outpost near the rim of alien space. A technician named Koresh leaned over his console. Eyes wide. "Something's wrong," he muttered. His partner looked over. "What now?" Koresh pointed. "The human signal, it's repeating, but each time the coordinates shift slightly, it's like a path." They watched the numbers roll across the screen. A trail leading deeper into the void beyond the galaxy. "A place no one dared go," Koresh whispered. "They're showing us where they went." His partner shook his head violently. No, they're not showing us, they're warning us. But even as he said it, the screen flickered, and for a heartbeat an image appeared. A dark horizon with shapes moving like shadows, then it vanished. The next day, the Council received more troubling news. Entire communication satellites near Earth had gone offline. The cause unknown, sensors failed to detect interference. It was as if the satellites had been erased from existence. The humans are closing their walls, a councillor said. They are hiding their world from us, another muttered, or they are sealing themselves in. To keep something out. Again, the chamber filled with whispers. Again, no one had an answer. Only questions that grew darker with each report. A spy hidden on Earth tried to send a message. His words hurried, his voice trembling. They know, they always knew. The oceans are not oceans. They are gates, tunnels, ancient structures built long before their modern cities. And then the transmission cut off, leaving only static. The Council shouted for more, demanded the rest, but nothing else came. Only silence, only that half-finished warning, and the last words played again and again in their minds. They know, they always knew. In the quiet of the chamber, the elder councillor spoke again, his voice like stone. Do you not see? They were never children of the stars as we thought. They were always something older, something hidden, and the fleet's disappearance is not the end. It is the beginning. His words were met with angry protests, but the fear in their eyes betrayed them. They knew he spoke truth, and that truth was heavier than war, heavier than death in the far reaches of space, in a place no alien dared enter. The missing fleet drifted in silence, their hulls glowing faintly. The crews standing at their stations without a word, their faces calm, their eyes locked forward. And then, slowly, a shape emerged in the distance. Massive, ancient, its surface cracked with age, yet burning with power. The human admiral spoke softly. We have arrived. Prepare the second phase. His voice echoed through the ships, steady, unshaken, as if this was always their purpose back in the alien council. A final report arrived from a scout ship that had followed the human coordinates. The transmission was broken, voices screaming, alarms blaring, and then a single clear voice, turn back now. They are not fighting us. They are fighting something else. And then silence, complete and final. The scout ship never returned. The council chamber fell into a darkness deeper than any shadow. Rulers and generals stared at one another, unable to speak. Because in that moment they realized the greatest fear was not that the humans had vanished. It was that they would come back, changed, hardened, carrying knowledge of whatever lay beyond the rim, and when they returned, the galaxy would never be the same again. The galaxy waited in silence. Every race watching the stars with unease. Rumors spread faster than light. Whispers carried through ships and cities. Humans had vanished their fleet and left behind only a trail of questions. No one knew if they would return or what they were preparing for. In a small listening post on the edge of alien territory, a technician leaned forward, his eyes wide as his console flickered. It's back, he whispered. His partner frowned. What's back? The technician swallowed hard. The signal, the human signal, but it's different now. Stronger. They watched as the wave of sound cracked through the static. A strange rhythm, not speech, but not random either. Like a code hidden inside the stars. Across the chamber of the alien council, the same signal played. The leaders leaned closer, brows furrowed. A voice cut through the air, faint but clear. It was not alien, it was human. We hear you, it said, and then silence. The chamber erupted, some shouted, they know we are listening, others hissed. They are mocking us, but then another message followed. This time, a series of coordinates burned onto the screen, coordinates leading far beyond the rim, a place of darkness, the same place the scouts had feared. Why would they send us this? A leader asked, and another whispered back, because they want us to see. In a warship orbiting a quiet moon, a young officer replayed the signal again and again. His commander grew angry. Enough, we know the numbers. But the officer shook his head. No, sir, it is not just numbers, listen. He slowed the signal down. stretched it until the hidden layers emerged. Voices faint and broken, screams, roars, not human, not anything known, something older. The officer whispered, "They are not calling us. They are warning us." His commander paled but said nothing, because deep inside he knew the young one was right. Meanwhile on Earth, under the oceans where no alien eye could see, massive halls pulsed with blue light, machines hummed like thunder, soldiers stood in rows waiting in silence. Above them, screens showed the same coordinates, the same dark place beyond the rim. One officer turned to his superior. "Should we block the transmission, sir? They have seen too much." But the superior shook his head, his eyes sharp. "No, let them listen, let them fear. Fear will keep them from interfering." And the officer obeyed, though his heart beat fast. For even he did not understand the full plan. Far away in a trading hub, two alien merchants argued over the news and laughed nervously. "Humans bluff, that's what they do. This is nothing." But the other leaned closer, his eyes wide. "I fought near their borders once. I saw their resolve. They do not bluff, they endure. And when they prepare, they strike." His words spread like fire through the crowded hall. And soon the hub was filled with rumors, fear crawling through every corner. Even those who mocked the Deathworlders felt a chill in their bones. On the council world, an elder sat alone in his chamber. Staring at the stars, his aide entered quietly. "You have not rested," he said softly. The elder's voice was low, heavy. "How can I rest when I know the truth?" The aide frowned. "What truth?" And the elder's gaze never moved from the window. "The humans are not hiding from us. They are hiding us from what they face. The signal is not for us. It is for themselves, a call, a reminder that their war has only begun." The aide tried to argue, but his voice fell silent because he felt the weight in the elder's tone. In a distant sector, a patrol ship caught the signal at full strength. The crew huddled around the console as the sound grew louder. Then suddenly the message shifted. The voice clear as thunder. "Stand aside," it said. The lights on the ship flickered. The engines died. And through the viewports a shape appeared. A single human warship, larger than the patrol ship could imagine. Its hull scorched with battle scars, its weapons glowing. The alien captain gasped, "Fire! Fire now!" But before the order could be carried out, the human ship pulsed with energy and vanished, leaving the patrol ship adrift in silence, the crew trembling. The report reached the council quickly. Chaos erupted. "They are back!" One shouted, "No, only one, and it did not attack." Another corrected. But the words, "Stand aside," echoed in every mind. What did it mean? What were they warning about? The chamber was filled with fear, but none dared to admit it aloud. Meanwhile, in the void beyond the rim, the missing fleet moved in silence, their lights faint, their crews focused. Before them stretched shadows so massive they looked like broken stars, shapes shifting with ancient hunger. The human admiral's voice echoed through the fleet. "Calm and sharp, hold formation, they are stirring." The shadows moved, eyes like burning suns opening one by one. And for a moment, the darkness itself seemed alive. Back in the council chamber, a broken transmission cut across the screens. The image of a scout ship, alarms blaring, voices screaming. "They are not fighting us, they are fighting something else." And then static. The chamber fell silent. No one moved, no one spoke. They all felt the same dread. Humans had not vanished to prepare for war with them. They had vanished to face something worse, something beyond imagination. And when they returned, they would not be the same. In the end, the chamber sat in darkness, the leaders whispering among themselves, each afraid to be the first to speak because they knew the truth. The day the humans vanished was not the day they disappeared. It was the day they began. And when they finished whatever waited beyond the rim, they would return. And the galaxy would never again look at Earth as weak. For the Deathworlders had stepped into the unknown, and none could believe their eyes when they saw the path humanity had chosen. The night over Earth was quiet, but under the waves of its deep oceans, the truth moved like a storm. Tunnels the size of cities glowed with cold blue light. Machines older than modern nations hummed with hidden power, and deep inside, men and women in black uniforms stood in silence waiting for orders. One officer finally broke the stillness. "The council above thinks we are gone." His voice was sharp but steady. Another answered with a faint smile, "Let them think so. Fear will keep them away." Yet even as they spoke, tension hung in the air, because none of them knew if the secret they guarded could remain hidden forever. On the other side of the galaxy, a council of alien rulers sat in dim light. Their voices low but filled with panic. "We cannot wait any longer," one cried, his scaled fists shaking. "The humans move in shadows." "And we are blind," another struck the table with his claws. "Strike them now before they return with something worse." But an elder's voice cut through the noise. Calm and cold, "No, if you strike them and fail, they will burn every world you own. They have already shown us their silence is more dangerous than our noise." The chamber fell silent, heavy with fear, until a messenger ran in, holding a broken transmitter. "A spy has sent fragments," he said, his hands shaking. "The humans have built gateways under their seas, doors not of this age but older, and they are using them." The chamber erupted in shouts, some denying, some terrified, but none could hide the dread crawling into their hearts. Meanwhile, in a small human city by the coast, an alien spy disguised as a worker slipped through alleys under the cover of night, his device hidden beneath his cloak. He whispered into it, "They are moving now." Ships entering the waters, vanishing into the gates, but suddenly he froze. Footsteps echoed behind him. A shadow stretched across the wall, and a calm voice said, "You should not be here." The spy spun around, his eyes wide, facing a tall human in dark armor. The human did not raise a weapon. He only stepped closer, his tone cold. "Go back and tell them nothing, because the more they know, the faster they will end." Before the spy could move, his device sparked and died, his last words never reaching the stars. In the council chamber, leaders shouted at one another, demanding the rest of the spy's message. But all that remained was static. The elder whispered, "They caught him. He saw too much." The others argued, "If they have gates, if they have passages older than their species, then where do they lead?" But none could answer. Their screens showed only empty seas and blue haze. On the border station near human space, a nervous officer leaned over his console. "I hear it again," he muttered. His commander frowned. "Hear what?" The officer turned the volume higher. A faint hum filled the room, growing louder, forming into whispers, words in no known language. "It comes from the oceans," the officer whispered. "Their oceans." Suddenly the lights on the station flickered, shadows moved across the screens, and for a brief moment a giant shape appeared beneath Earth's waters, its outline sharp, its size larger than cities. Then it was gone. The officer gasped. "What was that?" His commander whispered back, "Not a ship. Something else." Back under the sea, human commanders watched as their fleet passed through the glowing gates. One young pilot whispered, "Do the aliens know?" The admiral turned his gaze, calm and steady. "Let them wonder, let them fear. The truth is not theirs to know." The ships slipped into the tunnels, their forms swallowed by the light, until only silence remained in the ocean halls. In a far corner of alien space, a group of scholars debated in private. One unrolled an ancient star map, pointing at the dark rim. "These places were forbidden long before our empires were born," he said. His colleagues argued, "Legends only, children's tales," but he shook his head. "No, what the humans use is older than them. Older than us, built by hands we cannot name. And if they have found the gates, then they walk a path none of us dare take." Fear spread across their faces, because deep inside they knew his words carried truth. A week later, an alien scout ship approached Earth, its sensors scanning the seas. The captain muttered, "No signs, no movement," but then alarms screamed. Their engines died, and the stars outside twisted. Suddenly they were no longer above Earth, but far beyond the rim, floating in blackness, their screens showing shadows moving like storms. The crew screamed, "Bring us back!" But before they could act, a human voice filled their ship. "Calm and heavy, you should not have followed." Go back if you can." Then light flashed, and the scout ship was thrown back across space, their hull scorched, their crew shaken. The report reached the council late in the night. Broken voices replayed again and again. "They moved us without touch, without fire. They know the gates. They control them." The chamber trembled with fear. Rulers shouting, generals demanding war. But the elder leaned back with tired eyes. "War is not coming the way you think," he whispered, "because the humans are not preparing to fight us. They are preparing to fight what waits beyond. And when they finish, they will return changed." That night across alien worlds, people whispered in fear. Stories of humans walking paths older than stars. Ships vanishing into oceans, shadows moving beyond the rim, and a warning that burned through every tale. When the humans return, they will not be the same, and the galaxy will never again sleep in peace. The first sign came without warning, in a distant colony belonging to one of the oldest alien empires. The sky darkened as if a storm had spread across space itself. But there were no clouds, no thunder, only silence. Then out of the black, a single human warship appeared. Larger than any vessel the colony had ever seen, its surface scarred, its edges glowing faintly with energy burns. The people panicked, alarms screamed. Soldiers rushed to weapons, but before anyone could act, the ship transmitted a single message that echoed across the entire system. "Stand aside!" The words were clear, calm, and final, and before the colony could fire, the ship vanished, leaving only the echo of its warning. In the alien council chamber, chaos erupted. Leaders shouting over one another, "They have returned!" One screamed, "No, only one ship," another argued, "Perhaps a scout, perhaps a messenger." But none could deny the fear in their voices. The phrase, "Stand aside," burned into their minds. Stand aside for what? A ruler whispered, but no one answered. The silence that followed was heavier than all the shouting. Meanwhile, far away in a border station near the rim, two officers sat in the control room, staring at their screens. "And that energy spike again," one muttered. "It matches the human fleet before it disappeared." His partner frowned. "So they're back." But the first officer shook his head. "No, not back, moving. They're moving between places we can't even track." Then the screen flickered, and for a brief moment a shadow appeared. Larger than any fleet, a shape with eyes burning like suns. The officer's voice trembled. "That's not human." Then the screen went black, leaving them in cold silence. Under Earth's oceans, the hidden gates pulsed brighter than ever, blue light flooding the massive tunnels. Human ships returned one by one, their hulls marked with strange burns. Their crews silent, their eyes steady. An officer reported to his admiral. "The enemy has awakened." The admiral gave a slow nod. "And the galaxy will soon see what we already know." His tone was calm, but his gaze was heavy with weight. The crew around him stood tall, prepared, though even they could not fully understand what awaited them on an alien trade world. Rumors spread like fire. Merchants whispered in dark corners. "The humans walk in shadows beyond the rim," one said. "They face monsters older than stars," another replied. "And yet they return stronger each time." Fear seeped into every street. Children asked questions their parents could not answer. Soldiers walked uneasy with weapons in hand, for no army could fight an enemy it could not see. The Alien Council demanded answers. They called their best scientists, who replayed the human transmission again and again. "Stand aside," they repeated. Their instruments showed hidden frequencies beneath the words. Echoes of other voices, screams, roars, ancient sounds. One scientist paled as he explained, "This message is not only for us. It is layered. It is also a call to others, perhaps to their own kind, perhaps to allies we do not know." His voice broke as he added, "Or perhaps to enemies." The chamber fell into silence, each leader staring at the glowing screens as if the shadows inside them could spill out into the room. In a small observation post near the rim, a young alien officer sat alone at night, listening to the repeating signal. He muttered to himself, "Stand aside, stand aside." Suddenly the signal shifted. A second voice emerged, broken but clear. "We fight so you do not." The officer froze. His blood cold, he replayed it again. The words unchanged, he whispered. They are not warning us of themselves. They are warning us of what they fight. But before he could send the report, the lights in the post flickered. The system crashed, and when power returned, the message was gone. Erased as if it had never existed. Meanwhile, a human fleet ship hovered in the void, its crew watching a vast horizon of shifting shadows. The admiral's voice echoed, "Do not break formation. They test us." The shadows stirred. Massive shapes moving like titans, their eyes burning brighter. One crew member whispered, "How can we fight this?" The admiral's reply was calm. "Because we must. Because no one else can." His words steadied the crew. Though fear still clung to their hearts, back in the council chamber, a scout ship's final transmission appeared on the screens, the image shaky, alarms wailing, voices screaming, "They are not our enemy! They fight something worse, turn back now." Then static consumed the signal. The council stared at the blank screen. The weight of those words crushing every protest, the elder's voice broke the silence. "Do you not see their war is not with us? But when they return, they will bring that war here." In the dark halls of power across the galaxy, rulers sat alone in silence, afraid to speak the truth aloud. Because they knew it in their bones, the day the human fleet vanished had not been their defeat. It had been their choice, their warning, and now their return was only the beginning. And so the galaxy waited, afraid to move, afraid to speak, afraid to breathe too loudly. Because somewhere in the black beyond the rim, humans fought against shadows too ancient to name. And when they came back, they would not be the same. They would be stronger, sharper, forged by battles no one else dared fight. And the galaxy would stand aside, or it would fall. The galaxy had grown restless, whispers spreading like fire across every world. Markets, ships, and council halls all carried the same question. Where had the humans gone? And what would they bring back with them? In dark corners, merchants traded rumors. Some said the humans had bargained with gods. Others swore they had seen shadow creatures moving behind the stars. In the great alien council chamber, the leaders gathered again, their voices sharp with fear. "We cannot wait for them to return," one shouted, his claws digging into the table. Another argued, "If we strike Earth now, we risk everything. Their fleet may already be beyond our reach." Then an elder's voice cut through the noise. Steady and cold, "You speak as though this is still our choice." But the choice was theirs, the moment they stepped through the gates. That same night, a faint transmission leaked into the council's network. Broken and weak, but clear enough to chill the blood of anyone listening. "This is Captain Rivas of the scout ship Corin. We followed the coordinates, we saw them." His voice trembled. Their ships, their fleet, fighting something vast. Something older than stars. Static broke his words. Then came a scream. Not human, not alien. Something deeper. The sound made even hardened generals cover their ears. Then silence. The message ended, with only one line repeated 3 times. "Do not follow, do not follow, do not follow." The council chamber sat in dead silence. No one dared to breathe, on Earth, beneath the oceans. Human officers watched their returning ships slip through the glowing gates, their hulls scorched, their crews pale but alive. One officer whispered, "They survived," but another shook his head. Survival is not the same as winning. In the command hall, the admiral stood before the gathered crews, his voice steady, though his eyes were cold. "The enemy has awakened, but the galaxy does not know. And it must not know, because if they panic, they will fall before the fight even begins." The soldiers stood taller at his words. Yet deep inside, they carried the weight of what they had seen far away in a mining colony. A simple worker returned home late. His son asked, "Father, is it true the humans disappeared?" The man sat heavily on his bed, his face pale. "Yes," he said quietly, "but what frightens me more is that they are returning." His son frowned. "Why is that worse?" The father's eyes darkened. "Because no one knows what they are bringing back with them." In the border patrol stations near human space, strange reports continued. Faint ripples of energy moving like waves through the void. Technicians grew nervous. It feels like a warning, one muttered. His commander snapped, "Stop talking nonsense. It's just interference." But then their screen lit up with sudden clarity. A massive shape passing through the void, larger than fleets. Its body like smoke and fire, the crew froze. And in the silence, a human voice cut across their speakers.
"Stand aside." The station shook as if struck, then all systems went dark.
When power returned, the shape was gone, and so was the voice. In the alien council chambers, debates grew bitter. Some demanded war, others begged for silence. One ruler slammed his fist and shouted, "We are fools if we do nothing." Every day they grow stronger, but another hissed back. "Every day they fight something we cannot. Would you rather take their place?" The arguments ended only when the elder spoke once more. His tone weary but sharp. "Our fear does not change what is coming. We will either stand aside or be swept aside." Meanwhile, in the void beyond the rim, the human fleet faced the darkness head-on, ships glowing with energy, weapons armed. The admiral's voice filled the comms. "They are stirring again. Hold formation." "We do not retreat," the crew answered as one, their voices steady, though the shapes before them moved like nightmares, massive and ancient, eyes burning like broken suns. A young pilot whispered, "How long can we hold them?" His commander replied, "As long as it takes, because if we fail, there will be nothing left to return to, back on a distant alien world." Two merchants argued in the marketplace. One said, "The humans are demons. They vanished into the dark to bargain with monsters." The other leaned close and whispered, "No, they are not demons. They are shields, and when shields break, blades fall on everyone." Their words spread through the crowd, fear clinging to every ear that heard them. Later that night, another broken transmission reached the council, a human voice this time. Calm and steady, "The line holds, but not forever. Prepare yourselves." Then static swallowed the rest. The chamber filled with shouts. "Prepare for what?" One ruler demanded, another whispered, "For their return." But no one had answers. Only the growing fear that whatever fought the humans would one day break free into their stars. And in the deepest shadows of space, a single human ship emerged from the dark. Its hull cracked, its weapons glowing faintly. The crew silent, their eyes cold, the admiral's voice low but steady. "Phase 2 begins." Then the ship vanished again into the void, leaving the galaxy trembling. For everyone knew now the humans had not disappeared to escape. They had disappeared to fight. And when they came back, they would not come alone.